I actually can't believe that I'm putting that out for free, but honestly, there's so much misinformation about that topic out there, and I see it every day. People are asking me questions about it, they're surprised about my answers about it, and because of that, I want to explain to you what's really going on with blood sugar, how to have a healthy blood sugar, how to have a stabilized blood sugar, which organs play the most critical role in blood sugar, how do they interact with each other as well, which is so critical to understand. And on top of that, how you should eat in order to solve your blood sugar problems, your type 2 diabetes, your hypoglycemia, whatever you have in your life, whatever condition you have, or even if you just want to balance out your blood sugar naturally because you know you have problems with that, or you're just interested in that topic, because balanced out blood sugar is by far the most important thing when it comes to your health. And why is that? That's what I'm gonna explain to you in that video. Okay, let's not further wait. Let's start, let's go into that. So before we talk about blood sugar, we need to talk about 3 critical organs that interact with each other and that influence our blood sugar the most. So we have the liver, we have the pancreas, and we have our adrenals. The adrenals are sitting on top of your kidneys. That's your kidney, here you have the adrenals, okay? And basically they all interact with each other. It's basically a triangle, so to say. And in order to understand blood sugar, we need to understand what those organs are actually doing into our bodies. The liver, for example, one of the main functions of the liver is to store glucose as glycogen. It stores glucose as glycogen, okay? That's one of its main functions. And then the liver is releasing that glycogen as glucose again to stabilize the blood sugar. That's one of the main functions of the liver. If you eat something with carbohydrates and you don't use everything up immediately, your liver is storing that glucose, for example, from a banana, and storing that as glycogen in your liver. When your blood sugar drops, your liver is releasing that glucose as glycogen again to stabilize the blood sugar, okay? One of the main functions of the liver. Your pancreas that you see here, they release insulin, the hormone that pushes glucose into your cell. So we have here the pancreas. Where do I put it? I put it here. They release insulin, okay? Which is the hormone that helps to bring glucose into the cell. Let's put it in here, and that's for here, okay? Then we have our adrenals, and you hear me talking often about the adrenals, but the adrenals, one of the main things, it's the most important endocrine gland in our bodies. And one of the main hormones that it's producing is like adrenaline and cortisol, but here we're focusing more on adrenaline. So let me put that in here. It's producing, the only thing that you need to know right now is that the adrenals are producing adrenaline. And how do these organs interact with each other, and how do these organs influence our blood sugar? First of all, as I explained before, the liver is storing glucose as glycogen, and when your blood sugar is dropping, okay? When your blood sugar is dropping because you didn't eat for a longer period of time, your liver is releasing that glycogen as glucose again to stabilize your blood sugar. That's why every blood sugar problem basically starts in your liver, because the liver is responsible for protecting your pancreas, and it's protecting your pancreas by stabilizing the blood sugar. And if the blood sugar is not stabilized because you don't have any glycogen storage in your liver, then your liver can't release glucose to stabilize the blood sugar, and therefore your pancreas have to produce more insulin to push every little piece of sugar, of glucose that is in your bloodstream into your cell. And that's hurting your pancreas because your pancreas have to overwork because of that. That's really what's happening. That's the first connection that we have here. If your liver is not, if the glycogen storage are not full, you don't have a balanced out blood sugar, and then your pancreas have to overwork. You just have to imagine, the pancreas usually, they produce a little insulin, they produce a little less insulin, it's all stabilized, okay? But they should never be in an emergency where it's like, oh my God, there's almost no glucose anymore in the bloodstream. We need to make sure that that glucose is getting into the cell, otherwise we can't survive basically. You never want that emergency for your pancreas, and that's weakening your pancreas over time, okay? On top of that, the next connection is your adrenals. If your blood sugar is dropping, yeah, because you don't eat for a longer period of time, you don't have your glycogen reserves, where is your body getting the energy from? Because glucose is the main fuel for the body to get energy. There's nothing else. It's the only way to get a nutrient into the cell, and it's the way on our cells function. It's the only way on how our cells get energy, on our body. Our body thrives on glucose. That's why when you get to the hospital, that they check your blood sugar level. They don't check your blood fat level, they check your blood sugar. Because if your blood sugar is down, yeah, there could be that's a big problem for you. That's why they only check blood sugar levels. And when your blood sugar is dropping because your liver is not able to release glucose, then something else has to kick in your body to keep you going, and that's adrenaline. That's adrenaline, and that's coming from your adrenals. So your adrenals kick in for the glucose that you don't have in your bloodstream to keep you functioning. To keep you functioning. It's a good thing in that situation, otherwise you couldn't do anything, otherwise you couldn't function. But if you're doing that for a longer period of time, here's what happens. The adrenaline that is getting released from your adrenals is hurting your pancreas. Okay, adrenaline is acidic, it's corrosive, it's scorching your pancreas in a way. It can even cause calluses in your pancreas, making it more so the pancreas get hurt by that. And if you have weakened and injured pancreas because of too much adrenaline, it can't release the insulin anymore as it should be. It's basically like the pancreas, you can picture it as a credit card. Everybody comes to this world with a different credit card for their pancreas, and the more stress you have, the more adrenaline you have, the more you burn your credit card, the more you burn your pancreas credit card. That's what's actually happening, okay? And on top of that, the adrenals produce adrenaline, and guess which organ has to soak up that adrenaline in order to get rid of the adrenaline? It's your liver. So the blood sugar problems are starting in your liver. Your adrenals have to kick in because you don't have a balanced blood sugar because your liver can't release glucose as glycogen. Your adrenals kick in with the adrenaline. That is scorching your pancreas, which is weakening your pancreas already, causing you to have more blood sugar problems, causing you to maybe even get insulin resistance. And on top of that, the adrenaline is also bad for your liver, weakening the liver even more. So now you have a sluggish stagnant liver with no glycogen storage. You have adrenals that kick in adrenaline all the time that weaken as well. And then you have weakened pancreas because of that whole cycle. And then the liver gets more sluggish and it loses basically the ability to store glucose as glycogen. You can bring that back. Don't worry about that. You can bring that back. But that's actually how these organs interact with each other and how they actually hurt each other, and what adrenaline is, how adrenaline plays a big role in that. And the next problem is we never learn on how to have a healthy blood sugar. We never learn on how to eat properly in order to stabilize our blood sugar. So the first recommendation that you get from your doctor when you have blood sugar problems, when you have type 2 diabetes. Everybody is afraid of sugar. Everybody is afraid of sugar. But do you see something here? Without sugar, your body is not running. Your body is not functioning properly. And if you don't stabilize your blood sugar, then you get all of these problems. And it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So they're afraid of sugar. They even put processed sugar in the same category of fruits. So they say the fruit sugar is the same as processed sugar, for example, because it does the same. It's causing the same insulin spikes, what they say. It's like comparing toilet water with spring water that you get from an Austrian lake somewhere, or Austrian river. Okay? That's what they actually tell you. And they recommend to you, you have to eat a high-fat diet. You need to limit your carbs. Eat a low-carb diet. That's what's helping you. You know what's happening when you eat a low-carb diet? You have high fats in your bloodstream, which is the biggest problem for people with blood sugar problems. High fat in your bloodstream means, like the more fats in your bloodstream, means that the insulin has it harder to attach to glucose and to tissue cells to open up. Fat is interfering with the glucose and with that whole process of insulin attaching to glucose and to tissue cells to open up. So if you have lots of fats in your bloodstream, that's even causing more insulin spikes because the whole fats interfere with that process and your pancreas have to produce more insulin to bring the glucose into the cell. If you would have no to low fat in your bloodstream or less fats in your bloodstream, that whole process would be much easier and the carbohydrates that you eat would be delivered much more easily into your cells. That's actually what's happening. And meanwhile, everybody is telling you that sugar is the problem. Sugar was never ever the problem. And I'm not talking about processed sugar. I'm not talking about high fructose corn syrup. I'm not talking about wheat or pasta. I'm not talking about that processed stuff. I'm talking about healthy sugars, healthy carbohydrates. That was never the problem. That's only the messenger. If you eat carbohydrates and your glucose and your blood sugar levels go up and your insulin is spiking, that's not because of the carbohydrates. That's because your liver and your pancreas and your adrenals are struggling. Specifically, your pancreas in the end are struggling because you don't have anything in check in your body. That's actually what's happening. And if you would lower the fats in your diet and bring in more healthy carbohydrates, this problem can be resolved. Because then you have nothing that is interfering with that whole process. And on top of that, you know what's happening when you do that? You restore the liver's glycogen. You restore your glycogen storage in your liver because guess what? Next misinformation. Everybody says that fructose is the cause for fatty liver. Fat is the cause for fatty liver. That's why it's called fatty liver. It's not called sugary liver, it's called fatty liver. And your liver is not converting sugar somehow into fat in your liver. If you eat lots of healthy carbohydrates, that's what's bringing back your glycogen reserves and that's what's being able for your liver, or that's what's bringing back your liver, and then your liver is able to stabilize your blood sugar again because it has glycogen storage. That's what's happening. And if you do that, you stabilize your blood sugar, your adrenals don't have to kick in anymore, your pancreas heal faster or heal better, and your pancreas don't get scorched all the time by that corrosive adrenaline blend that you have. And on top of that, a lot of people with the weakened adrenals, we have here, if you have weakened adrenals, lots of stress, lots of caffeine in your life, lots of high adrenaline activities, energy drinks, stress life again. And then if you have weakened adrenals, which can also lead to hair loss, for example, energy crashes. If you have weakened adrenals, that means your adrenals here sometimes overproduce and sometimes underproduce adrenaline, which is also influencing your pancreas, which is leading to overproduction of insulin and underproduction of insulin because that fight or flight adrenaline is also fluctuating all the time. And that's what you basically do all the time when you drink caffeine. That's what's happening all the time. You're in that artificial fight or flight all the time, in that adrenaline. which is also bad for your pancreas. So you see how everything is interconnected with that. It's a triangle of that. And people still don't understand what's going on with their blood sugars, how to solve that, because they're so afraid of eating more carbohydrates in their life, even though that's the only way on how to solve blood sugar problems. And now somebody will say, yeah, well, but I healed my blood sugar problems with a ketogenic, high-fat, high-protein diet. It's not possible to heal that. You see that on paper. I believe that. You see it on paper that your blood sugar is stabilizing a little bit. I totally believe that. Wait until you introduce carbohydrates again, because that's what you need in the end, because you're gonna hit the wall sooner or later because of glucose deficiencies with these high-fat diets. Your body's running on glucose. And of course, your blood sugar is stabilizing if you don't eat any carbohydrates. But the problem is you can't do that for a longer period of time. And you know what's happening when you eat a high-fat diet? Your adrenals have to produce adrenaline again. So you're under adrenaline the whole time. The whole time you're on adrenaline of coffee, because your blood sugar drops, because you have a high-fat diet, because if you have high fats in your bloodstream, that's an emergency for your body itself. It puts a strain on your heart. Your heart has to pump harder to push that blood, that thick, fatty blood through your blood. It's really bad for your blood if there's lots of fat in there. And your adrenals kick in with adrenaline to thin out the blood a little bit. There you weaken your adrenals again. There you're under adrenaline again. That's what's actually going on in your body when you are on those diets. And you only suppress the actual symptom on paper. Because if you're on that high-fat diet and you have the feeling to stabilize your blood sugar a little bit again, what's actually going on, you just suppress your symptom. Because sooner or later, you're gonna have cravings for carbs because that's what's keeping you alive. Cravings for carbs is the most normal thing that there is. And cravings also start in the liver because the liver is low on glycogen again. That's actually what's causing great cravings. And because of that, you can only get rid of that issue if you lower the fats in your diet and if you bring in more carbohydrates. It's the only way to solve that sustainably. Because if you're on a high-fat diet, guess what's happening to your liver? Do you think you're gonna bring back your glycogen storage with that? You're gonna overburden your liver even more. Because your liver has to produce bile to disperse the fat cells. Your liver is completely overburdened if you eat a high-fat diet. That's what's happening there as well. So this problem is not getting resolved, your blood sugar is not getting stabilized, and this is also, you could say, yeah, whatever, everything, it makes sense what he's saying, but where's the proof? Okay? I have type 1 diabetes clients that tried everything before. Everything you can think of. All the influencer stuff, all the stuff that you see out there, all the ketogenic diets, all the blood sugar hacks, all the supplements that they want to sell you, because the only thing that they actually can do for you is sell you the supplements. There are never any healing stories, never any results of what's actually helping them, but they can sell you their supplements at least, right? But here's what happens when you combine fats and sugar and when you don't do fats with the sugar. Here's what you see, that's a client of mine with type 1 diabetes, okay? He even needed less insulin with that lifestyle. He needed less insulin but he ate more sugar. Isn't that mind-blowing for you right now? Isn't that crazy? For so many people, that's like, but I've been told completely differently all the time. Yes, it's with basically everything about your diet and about diseases and about chronic health symptoms. It's basically every time the opposite, and then you think like, oh, I'm not eating processed food and I'm taking care of my diet. That's still not enough nowadays. It's not enough. And here's what you see actually. Here in that picture, you see when he's combining fats and sugar. You see the rise in blood sugar. You see that, how crazy that is. Because the sugar can't enter the cells because the fat interferes with that process. That's what's going on. That's what I just explained. And here, you see it when there's no fats in the bloodstream. That's a fruit smoothie, what he had there. A fruit smoothie. where everybody is afraid of, where everybody said, oh, that will spike your blood sugar like crazy. Everybody is afraid of blood sugar spikes nowadays. Yeah, you should be afraid of too much fat in your bloodstream, which is causing the blood sugar spike. Okay? Everybody on a high-fat diet is has problems long-term with their blood sugars, because you don't solve that issue, you don't solve that issue, and you don't solve that issue. In fact, everything gets worse because you don't work on your liver, you're still under adrenaline, you're gonna kick your pancreas in the ass all the time with that adrenaline. And the insulin resistance, the underlying insulin resistance is even getting worse with that. And because those situations are really individual for everybody. Some people are on medication because of their blood sugar problems, because of their type 2 diabetes issues, even type 1. Some people are having other issues in their life. They have blood sugar problems and they have hair loss and they have hypothyroidism and they have Hashimoto and they have brain fog. Whatever it might be, okay? Because the situation is so individual for everybody, I offer everybody a free discovery call. All you need to do is to go to my website, www.theobergmann.com. The link is in the description. And you can book your free discovery call there, and we will call you for 10 to 15 minutes to figure out if and how I can help you. And after that, if I can help you, if that would be the case, we would schedule a free strategy call. And in that strategy call, we would show you on a strategy on how you basically can achieve your health goals, how you can really solve that problem with your blood sugar problems, how you can really reach your health goals. And I would highly recommend you doing that, because as you just saw, if you're on a high-fat diet or if you're trying to somehow balance out your blood sugar and somehow it's getting a little bit better because you exercise a little bit more, but then it's also getting worse and you're still on your medication and you don't really find answers about it because nothing really makes sense, and then you feel worse and your symptoms get worse and you realize it's not getting better. It's just not getting better and your symptoms get worse in the end. And you can't provide for your family and you can't have the performance that you want to have anymore. I would highly recommend you doing that. Take action, book that free discovery call, link is in the description. And thank you for watching that video. Please subscribe to my channel and see you in the next videos. Bye bye.